Welcome back, everybody. All right, so the next thing that we can do is we can actually put this into a chart here, okay? And what I mean by a chart is we can make it a graph, whatever you want to call it, really. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out a bit here, and you might not be able to see some of it, just depending on what you are on what you're doing or where you're viewing this. But what I'm going to do is if you want to make any kind of graph in Excel, you just have to highlight the area here, okay? And you can actually highlight all of this, but what we're going to do is we're just going to start off and highlight all of this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Insert here, and then you can see that there's a nice big button called recommended charts, but I'm just going to make this a simple bar chart. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put that up here. And as you can see, this nice little chart comes up like that. Okay, and I'll zoom out just a little bit more. Now, the cool part about this chart is you can move it anywhere you want. You can move it below or beside, etc. So I'm just going to move it beside here. Okay, and as you can see, for the most part, you can see that there is a chart here. Now, there is a bit of an issue. This issue is that the total here doesn't make much sense in the chart. So no problem. You can just simply change it like that. So let's just go ahead and let's just undo that here. So if you take a look closely, and again, you might not be able to see it due to your screen size, but for the most part, there's actually three boxes. There is the red box, as you can see up top here. There is the purple box, which is here, and then there is the blue box. Okay, and as you can see, the red box is put here, the scale is put here, and then you can also see that the purple box is right underneath here. Okay, so if we take this and again you can move any box like this around, you can see that that works out quite well, and you can see that total is no longer there, and you can also see that this box is right here. If you really wanted to, you can see what happens if you move up and put this expense up top here, and you'll see that it doesn't quite work because from a graphing point of view it doesn't make much sense. Okay, and so you can see here that each month is represented by a color, and you can see how much you're spending on what. Now, up at the top here, you can actually change the chart type, and it's actually quite easy to change, and there's a lot of different options. So you can see here, there is this chart here. You can change it to this. You can change it to anything that you want here. Some of them by default will be a lot better than others. So for example, this one works a lot better than this one because you can't really see the numbers here. All right, and so a little bit of trial and error is needed just to see what's going on here. Now, personally, I like these dark ones here, but you can see that there's a whole bunch of other ones, and you can go and you can find out which ones you want. This one looks kind of cool. And whenever you're choosing any graphic style, you want to think what suits the best here. So honestly, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click this one here. All right, and the last thing is up at the top here, you can see it says chart title. Well, that doesn't make much sense. Let's just go ahead and type in monthly budget. All right, just like that. All right, and there we go. We can see that this all works out here. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to stop it right there, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Welcome back, everyone. All right, so this looks good, but we could make it a little bit better. Now, the first thing that you need to know about Excel is that you can click on certain areas of the table here, and you can go ahead and you can actually change them around. So the first thing that pops out is that this number here doesn't quite work. Okay, it's a little bit obscured, and there we go. We can just simply move it aside. Now, if you've been a long time Excel user like myself, this is fantastic because in the past you weren't able to do this, right? Let's say if you want to move anything around here, let's just go ahead and let's say you wanted to move this for whatever reason to the right. So you click on it and you can see that it will come up with these crosshairs, and you can just simply move it. Now, as a tip, if you push shift, you'll see that it will lock it in place. So you can move it around, but if you push shift, it locks it along in axis, either the X or the Y axis, right? So you can move it around like that. And of course, if you need to undo anything, you can just push Control Z. Again, you can see this here. You can move it all the way over here, pushing shift. Make sure that it locks on the axis if you want to, okay? So let's go ahead and I'll push Command Z here, and I'll just push Command Command Z. There you go. All right. And as you can see, you can move any one of these around if you want to. All right. Now, on another note, you can actually go ahead and click this here. Now, you can see here that if I just move this over just a bit here, and you can see that there are different chart elements here. So you can click on the axis, and again, the axis that you can see are either the bottom here, the rent, or the money here. And so let's just go back, and you can see that you can go and click that, and then there's no axis anymore. You can click axis titles here, and you can go and enter in the titles just by clicking in these and whatnot here. Now, if I were to go over every single thing in Excel, it would take me extremely long time. But as you can see here, this is fairly important. You can change the chart title. You can put the data labels on and off, and that makes sense that if you go to a different table here, you can move it to the data labels there. You can also include the table at the bottom here, which actually looks kind of neat. It's an extra bit of data right there. You can include error bars if you want, although this chart doesn't really include that kind of data, but you can include it if you want. You can also put in the grid lines, right? If you want to, and then you can also include a legend. All right, and I'm just going to push Command Z a couple times, and I'm just going to do that because I like the original ones like that. And lastly, you can put a trend line in there. Okay, so you can see the trend line here, and if you want to, you can say you can do it. It says add a trend line based on a series. Okay, and that doesn't make much sense. What a series is this is a whole series. This is a whole series, etc. So let's go ahead and let's go back here, and we'll just click that plus sign. We'll put the trend line, and of course we're going to put total here, okay? And this trend line, of course, doesn't make that much sense, but as you can see here, what this does mean is that this means that the trend line of spending is down. All right, and so you can go ahead and you can play around with all of these features if you want, but that's how you edit the chart. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Welcome back, everybody. All right, so as you can see here, we have a certain kind of graph here. What happens if you want to change that? Well, it's very simple. As you can see here, there are a whole bunch of different kinds of charts here. So you can change it to a 3D column if you want to, and you can change all of the settings accordingly. You can change it to a 2D bar. You can see you can change all that here. You can also change it to a line graph, and switching it is actually fairly simple. So let's actually take a look, and pie charts are pretty basic here. All right, so you can see here that we have a 3D pie or just a donut pie, but let's just click on this here, okay? And again, you can take a look at what indexes are being used and where. And so you can see you can click on that here, and you can click on each one of these here, and you can see where everything works out here, right? And if you want to ever change anything in here, you can just simply go and select this at once. Now, the only thing is that you want to make sure that you pick a chart that displays your data correctly. In this case, a bar chart works fine. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.